A commentary as we're heading out into the main lake here. You notice we had to knock all our stuff down as far as rods sticking up to get under these bridges. Shows how high the water is currently, but these bridges are vastly overlooked spots to fish because they set up current, especially as the wind blows different directions through the lake and moves the water back and forth. And then also they're great shore fishing opportunities, which Devil's Lake abounds for that, so you don't need a big expensive boat to come out here and have a good time. You know, just some basic equipment, heck, a rod and a fistful of jigs and a couple of crankbaits, and you can catch probably just as many fish on a lot of days as the guys do out in the boat. Silver bass, obviously, if you want fast action or something that are fun, and they're big here. So I guess the moral of the story being, don't hold yourself back because you think you need all this fancy stuff to get out and fish. Just get out and do it. If you want to graduate up to this stuff, you certainly can in the future. Now I'm going to be careful. That stuff ain't sticking up much higher than we are. All right, we've just got to our first spot here, and actually on a body of water this big. It's not a spot I just picked out of the blue. I actually called ahead. I got a buddy, Ansel Reynolds, that guides up here, Ansel's Guide Service. Give me a laundry list of probably 10 different spots to try. Well, one of the things he said he did fish yesterday morning, he did quite well on, was smile blades and leeches. And he was using a pink. The first one I grabbed out of my box is a purple. Gonna be pretty darn close, and I'm kind of partial to purple. But the nice thing I like about these is you can use them at any speed. We got a pretty good sized wind here today, so we're drifting along at a pretty good clip. You can run them clear up to 2 miles an hour, a little bit over, or you can be real precise live bait fishing with them, and these things will turn at a 1/4 mile an hour. And I kind of like they got that kind of flippy, floppy, wounded, something's wrong looking action to them. I'll go ahead and unpackage this, and I'll show you a little trick how I hook the leeches on these, and it may open your eyes. All right, what I was referring to and how I hook these leeches is, you can tell we're using a slow death hook, which is obviously designed to fish half a crawler with the bent angle to it, spins crawler in the water. I found that we can use these on leeches, and what a guy can do is take and lightly hook them through the sucker, as I've done here. And then what I do is just let it bunch up a little piece of meat. And then, as you can see there, I've actually double hooked it. That does 2 different things. One, it makes it incredibly tough for the fish to pull that off, particularly if you're dealing with panfish or little fish pecking away at it. And then 2, it'll take and twirl that leech, and it sounds goofy, but I gotta tell you, it really works. And what I like it for is a dead rod, because you're not worried about babysitting it as much. If it's getting pecked at, you don't have to reel it up and keep checking your bait on the thing. First fish of the day. And the attitude's anything the way he took it. I'm not sure we're gonna get off. Here's a little testament to the way we're hooking these leeches. As you can see, I can turn around and run him right back out there. They're just that tough. Particularly you get in numbers of fish, that can be beneficial. I want to pass along a little boat control tip here. What we're doing is, I'm going to take and drift down the shoreline, but the wind isn't blowing parallel with the shoreline. It's coming in at about a 45-degree angle. So what I'm doing is I'm using the trolling motor not on autopilot. I want it to set it one direction, pointed slightly out and slightly into the wind, as you can see that. And what that'll do is it'll compensate us getting pushed in and I call it kind of a scissor drift. What we'll do is we'll just kind of slide along this shoreline. So you don't need the wind to be perfect for you to push your boat just straight with the wind. You can adjust your boat and the attitude of it to make it do what you want. And the beauty of that is the wind is pushing into the shoreline, which should make it better. Another tip too is you can monkey around with your big motor, how it sits in the water. You can lift it out of the water, you can turn angles on the thing, you can even put the prop in or out of gear, depending on the situation, to create a little more resistance. So there's just a lot of things you can play with. And then obviously drift socks. If there's one piece of equipment I see that a lot of folks don't own, that walleye fish, particularly on these big windswept waters we have here in the Dakotas, is drift socks. It's probably the best investment you can make as far as boat control goes. So if you're not employing them, pick yourself up one or two, play around with them. They'll darn sure help you put more fish in the boat. Well, I tell you, we've been fighting this wind, and the only spot we've had any fish of any consistency is right off the tip of a point. Very, very small area. We actually pulled crankbaits down the shoreline to see if we couldn't extend it. And as we come off the tip, we're just making a comment, we're marking really nice fish. And as typical pulling crankbaits, we were hung up on one line, and then this went back, and this feels to be a good fish. Fairly close now. Thing I'm battling with here sideways with the wind. What I'm going to try to do is get the boat going somewhat with the wind in here. There we go.